Okay, now that we have our character leaning, we can see her here, really giving it her all to get close to that wall or that incline. But say you don't want to use control rig to do this. Well, let's figure that out. So if you look at my first video here, we have all of our variables that we need. So nothing's going to change here. So we set that up in our first video. You can check that out how we set that up. But what we're going to do here is we're going to get rid of our control rig. And let's look at this one. So we're leaning. Is that the one that we're moving? Yes, we are. And we're going to compile. We're going to get rid of our slope. And there we are. Now we are not being affected by our incline. But say we still want to be. But we don't know control rig. Control rig's unfamiliar to us as animators, and that's kind of daunting and scary. Hopefully my first video helped you with that, but if not, let's go through a blend space setup. So let's do that right now. What I like to do is go to our SKM. And then we've got our rig pose. And we don't really, this is going to be an additive change. So really what we're just looking at is changing one factor in our additive, and it's going to take the difference there. So I want to first create a pose. Let's come here to our anims and see what folders we have. What additives, we have slope. We're going to do new folder, tutorial, there. So we're going to say here, create asset, create animation, current asset, current pose. We're going to say anims, additives, slope, tutorial. And we're going to say AS, it's going to be our pose that we're going to use as a reference. And let's say slope, center. And just hit OK. And we should see our asset right here. There we are, our anim sequence. Then the first thing that we're going to do is duplicate it and rename it. This is going to be our additive. So then what we want to do is come here. We're going to say local space additive, selected animation frame. We're going to drag in our pose, and we're going to hit save. We've got our first additive set up with our pose. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And we're going to rename this to pitch 45, pitch negative 45, roll 45, and roll negative 45. Then we're going to come to our pitch 45. We're going to come to our skeleton. We're going to select our root, and we're going to rotate it 45 degrees. 45. And I believe the default is S, but if we open this up, we can hit key here. But if we delete that and do it again, say, make sure that we're rotating in world space here. We want the little world icon. We're rotating 45. There. Then we hit S. We just got to make sure that we're not in this window when we hit S. So I just middle mouse click out, and then hit S, and then we've got our 45 degree. We're going to save that. We're going to come to our slope, negative pitch, negative 45, same thing. Type negative 45, key, save. We'll do the same thing with our roll. Roll will be, let's see, what are we are in our roll? We want negative 45 here, key, and save. Then we go to our positive 45 roll, be this way, 45, key, and save. So the next thing that we're going to do, now that we have, let's double check, positive 45, negative 45 in our pitch, positive 45 in our roll, negative 45 on our roll. Okay, we've got our slope pose and our slope. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to create. So we just right click anywhere, animation, blend space. We're going to select our skeleton. We're going to say slope tutorial. First, we're going to say blend space underscore slope tutorial. Hit enter. So let's set this up. We're going to say here on our horizontal, we want to call this roll. We're going to say negative 45 to 45. And our vertical, we're going to say pitch. We're going to say negative 45 to 45. There we are. So let's start grabbing stuff and bringing it in. So we're not snapping anywhere, so we can just kind of bring this anywhere. This is our center, so it's our unmodified pose. And I just want to have that there just so that I know that once we get back to 0, it will be what I want it to be. And I didn't screw anything up with these other additive angle positions. So we're going to pull this out and shift and then snap it right into the center. We're going to take our positive pitch, take it, our pitch is vertical, take it to 45 there. We're going to make sure that that works, hit control and slide that up. We're going to take our negative 45, shift and put it on our negative 45 pitch. Now we've got our forward and backward in our blend space. We're going to do the same thing for our roll, bring it over, positive 45, negative 45. You can see that down here, roll 45, negative 45. So same thing. So now we've got that. But we want to do it to our root here. That way, let me see right here, bones, all hierarchy. Basically, all bones get it. So if we didn't do our root, say we did our pelvis, we rotated that, well then our IK bones for our feet and our hands and our weapon bones wouldn't rotate too. We want that all to move. Okay, so now we've got our blend space set up. Painless. So the next thing that we want to do, let's scroll this back down. Come over here. We want to drag in our blend space here. We want to get our roll, slope roll, and slope pitch. Then what we want, I'm going to do this the way I think it's going to be wrong. We're going to apply the additive. I'm going to grab our base pose here, and then hook it up to our output pose. We're going to compile. We are going to come back here, turn off bones, for now. And compile. And it's doing something funky, which shouldn't be doing. Oh, these are not additives. I saved the slope as an additive. Oh boy. Okay, so let's fix that. So this is not an additive here. We want these to be additives here. So what we'll do, since they're all going to share the same additive, we'll use them all. Asset actions, edit selection and property matrix. So now this is basically a bulk edit. We'll come over here to our details and we'll look for additive settings here. We'll say local. We want animation frame. We want to grab our animation, put it in there, and we'll hit save. That saves all 5 of those, and we'll save that one. Come back to our ABP, and everything should be fixed. Great. We'll compile. We'll save. And we'll come down here. We'll hit play. And you can see, so let's come here. Let's pop this window out. So we can see that. Come over here, see this. Make this a little smaller. And we'll look at our character here. So we can see here in our blend space, our blend space angles are moving around. From here, look at all that. We're aligning to the floor the way that we want to counter our weight. So very cool. But let's just check out one more thing just to make sure. I always like to see how the mesh space additive will do. Excuse me. We'll hook that up to our additive. We'll bring our base over here. We'll bring our output over here, like that. We'll compile. And we'll play. So you get a slightly different result there. Of course, we didn't make these as a mesh space additive. So let's see if that has anything to do with it as well. So let's recreate these real quick like. So we'll just duplicate them. What we'll do is create a new folder, type it for mesh. We will put these in advanced copy here. And it wants us to save a bunch of stuff. Sure, let's save a bunch of stuff, but not the map that we're in. So on this advanced copy, it wants us to generate dependencies, and we'll deselect that. And we'll hit OK. The one thing that we'll do, we'll save this, we'll rename these, batch rename. We'll say change search for add and search, replace it with add mesh, then apply. Then we'll mesh here at the end. So what that should have done on that copy is point the blend space to all the copied assets here. So it looks like we have mesh there. Nice, just to double check. And yes, we are. So the next thing that we want to do, select all these again, change our reference to the property matrix. We won't say local space, but we'll say mesh space. No, save there. So that's what we're looking at here. So that's fantastic. So it's relative to the position that we got. So each parent is looking at, each child is looking at its parent and saying, what rotation do you have? And it's applying that rotation as if we grabbed like everything and then just rotated the entire character on its own axes. So it's like the parent gets it, then the child 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 gets it. So that's kind of how I look at this. I just wanted to make sure that that is not the approach that we wanted to take. But for funsies, let's open up our APP because it closed it. And then we want to bring in our mesh space here, drag that into our additive, bring over our roll and our pitch, and then we'll play. And we can see what that does to our character. And it looks like we've got something nice going on here too. So it works the same. Maybe not entirely the same, but for all intents and purposes, it seems like it's the same. So depends on what setup you actually need and what you're going for. So hopefully that helps you get to your results faster. And I know we showed this as a control rig first, and then we're going into our blend spaces here. But the way I see it is that you want to just take whatever method that can get you to the results that you need, rather than worrying about like the actual setup. But when you're worrying about the setup, you want to ask yourself, what is the thing that is the most extendable for the amount of work that you have in your game? And what is the thing that is most procedural that can extend to um, different moments for your character using the same or an altered setup? So one thing that we could do here is just change this because she's blending too much. So we just don't want as much of that additive there. So come back here. We'll take out some of that. Let's take out a little bit more. Let's look at here. Back to 0.2, compile. There we are. So now we're at 0.2. So if we go to strafing, say if you have a different mode in your game, put this back to 1, compile. Here we are. So if we say, just drag this off and say select, and we can say on our wildcard is strafing. Let's pull this up here for more space. Stuff's getting ugly now. There we go. We can say here, if your strafing is true, we want a value of 1. If strafing is not true, we want a value of 0.2. So we'll hit compile there, and we'll come back to our game, we can watch this value, see which one we're at. 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2. So you can use either method, mesh space, make sure that you set up your additives to be mesh space, or our regular type of local space additive. You'll want your local space additive there for your setup, and then based on what mode that you're in your game, you can have different values here pumping that into. So hopefully that helps you understand and figure out how you want to approach a problem like slope warping. So happy animating out there, and good luck in your projects.